you know, but how do you go further? What would be the correct answer to that? You have to worship, and you have to do dhikr, and you have to purify yourself, and you have to realize the truth of this thing you're talking about. And that's why I think the experiential dimension of it is always there. And, you know, I began actually with Ad-Dardir and with his Kharidat al-Bahiyya. And one of the most interesting things about Ad-Dardir is how he is synthesizing basically in what he regards to be adequate and sufficient everything that went before. You know, bringing in the necessary being and all of this. You know, but, you know, he makes it very clear that you can't just make this cognition. You know, this has got to be what you do. This has got to be what you realize. And this is what enables it to grow. So it's like a seed. And you have to plant the seed, and you have to let the seed grow. But, you know, as we did say, that when they talk about necessary being, the theologians will usually say, and you know this very well, that if you understood this, you wouldn't need to understand anything else. That everything is contained here. Of course, we also say that you can't know God without knowing yourself. That self-knowledge is the first requirement, actually, of the knowledge of God. And, you know, therefore also to know God, I have to know myself. And, of course, that self-knowledge is huge, too. And ultimately, that might involve things like microcosm, macrocosm. And yet, where does that self-knowledge begin? You know, what the tradition I know of is it begins in knowing, of course, I'm created from nothing. And therefore, ultimately, I am nothing. So I have these attributes which millennials wouldn't like to hear us talk about. If there's any millennials, forgive me. And that's probably not true anyway, is it? But I am faqir. And that doesn't mean I'm poor. It means I have nothing. I am totally dependent in every single moment and breath. And if I don't know that about myself, I don't know much about myself. My existence is not from my essence, is it? So I'm totally dependent